Hey everybody, I want to show you a screenshot of a Filipina who was confronted by a foreigner. This happened at the Starbucks at the Ayala Mall in Cebu, and once I start her video, you'll see that this encounter was very upsetting for her. But before we get started, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to leave me a comment, share this video with anyone interested in Philippine-related topics. It'll help me grow my channel, and it's very much appreciated. Also, remember that bell notification. Okay, we're going to get her video going. Plus, I'll give you my reaction along the way. Okay, let's get her video going.
Let's talk about foreigner entitlement in the Philippines. I just had an intense, unexpected argument with a stranger in a cafe, and my heart is still pounding.
Okay, you can see that she's choking back the tears.
Earlier, I was in Starbucks, Ayala Center, Cebu. I grabbed coffee and lunch before running my errands at the mall. I needed to make a quick phone call to my boyfriend about our upcoming trip to Palawan, and I realized my headphones weren't working. Just to give you a little bit of context, the Starbucks in Ayala Center, Cebu is like a two-story, but when you come in, you're on the second floor, and then there's a downstairs, which is like a basement type. The downstairs is usually where people tend to go if they want to work in silence, and then the upstairs is where, the traffic is more frequent, and I've seen a lot of meetings happen there, so I specifically stayed upstairs. I had to put my boyfriend on a speaker because I couldn't hear him well. Out of nowhere, this stranger beside me taps me on my shoulder and said, "Do you have headphones?" And I said, "No, but this is just a quick call." And then he talked to me again and said, "Well, this is not your living room or your office to be talking that loud." I mean, whoa. But I said, "This is a public place." And he says, "Well, you can't just do whatever you want." That's when I got a little bit triggered. He looks like a foreigner, he sounds like a foreigner, and so I said, "This is my country, I can do whatever I want."
Okay, so obviously I wasn't there to witness what happened, but I know that there's two sides to every story. But what I will say is that I've lived here in the Philippines for almost 2 years now, and it's very common for Philippine people to have conversations on their phones in public places.
And that's when he got super aggressive and he said, "This is also my country. I have a permanent resident card and I bring money to this country."
Okay, hold up for a second. I think that this is a very arrogant statement made by the foreigner. We might be here in the Philippines and be in compliance with immigration, but we're still guests in this country. Let's continue with her video.
I wish I had a massive comeback for that, but honestly, I didn't know what to say. I was starting to get scared. He was a big guy, and what if it gets physical? But also, there was a big part of me that didn't want to back down. And I thought, wala na ba jud tay laban if permanent resident na ang foreigner nga ga-intimidate sa naturally born Filipino? I told him, "You can leave." And then he got up, went to talk to the manager, and then came back. And I should have stopped already, pero I was so angry and I felt like gisaniban ko sa espiritu ni Lapu-Lapu. So when he sat down again, I asked, "Are you leaving?" And obviously that set him off. So he went on and I went on. And I couldn't even remember what we were saying. I just remember that he was twisting my words and he was saying I was rude and I won't stop talking to him when I was really minding my own business, and he was the one who started this. I started to call for help, and I remember the guy on another table was waving at the staff and pointing at our table. And after a while, the manager and the security guard came over to listen to both sides. First of all, kudos to the manager Rhea of Starbucks and the security guard of Ayala. I think they handled it both really well. The manager both apologized to me and to him, and then the manager Rhea said, "Sir, she is allowed to have a phone call because this is a public cafe." And then he complained and he said, "I asked for your help first."
Okay, so just because you, the foreigner, and I'm speaking to the foreigner, just because you asked for help first doesn't mean that you're right and that she's wrong.
But Rhea stood firm and said, "I'm sorry, sir, but she is allowed to have a phone call." And then the manager left. And before the security guard left, he checked on me and asked if I'm okay. And I asked if he's going to be around. And he said that he's just outside. He refused to move. And my petty butt was not going to move either. I was terrified, but I was on fire at the same time. Like in my head, no, not a chance. I will finish this phone call. Like I said, Lapu-Lapu spirit took over 50% of my soul. So before anyone comes at me in the comments, yes, my boyfriend was in the phone call the entire time. And yes, he is a foreigner, and probably half of my inner circle of friends are foreigners as well. So let me be 100% clear that this isn't hate against foreigners. This is specifically about the entitled ones. I welcome anyone who respects our country. Look, I get it. In Western culture, taking a phone call on speaker in a cafe is a pet peeve. But in the Philippines, malls, cafes, jeepneys, our baseline is social and loud. And if I personally don't like the noise, I put headphones on. And if I don't have one, I walk away because I understand my culture. And being a permanent resident, understanding and respecting the culture should be your first and foremost responsibility. And bringing money to the Philippines does not give you the right to talk down to locals or act like you own the place. So what can we actually do when these non-naturally born Filipinos disrespect us? Well, I got my answer when I left the cafe and I was walking in the mall having quite a panic attack and came across a conversation with two Australians. I told them what happened and they said permanent residency does not give anyone immunity. When I got home, I Googled a little bit more. And he says that verbal abuse and harassment are grounds for police intervention and even complaints with the Bureau of Immigration for undesirable immigrants. And if it turns physical, criminal charges and deportation are real consequences. So these permanent residents, their behavior has repercussions. They don't get to just pull out these PR cards because these cards can get taken away from them. I was lucky he didn't get physical with me because I'm a 5-foot period Filipina and he's about a 6'2" with a half brain. But what about those who do get hurt and bullied into submission? Our weapon is to really stand our ground, know our rights, film for safety if needed, and most importantly, we need to be supporting each other, just like what the manager and the security guard did for me, which I am very, very grateful for. So to all my fellow Filipinos watching this, do not let anyone shrink us in our own home. We are expressively, naturally, and beautifully loud. We talk with our hands. We laugh out loud. If the max volume of a speaker is 10, Filipinos will find a way to make it to 15. We live lively. This is our culture, and we should not be apologetic about it. Never apologize for taking up space in the country we are naturally born into. Filipinos, let's be loud. Have a good day.
Okay, so once again, I didn't witness this confrontation firsthand. So I'm sure that the foreigner has his own version of the truth. So she talked about how this guy was one of those entitled foreigners who expects every Filipino custom to conform to the customs of the country where he came from. Myself, I didn't come here trying to change the Philippines into another United States. I came here to assimilate into Filipino culture and respect their ways. And if that means that a Filipina is within earshot of me and talking loudly on her phone, then that's what it means. Another example is that if I'm invited over to someone's home and they remove their shoes before entering the house, then you can best believe that I'll be removing my shoes, even though I never did that in the USA. So in a nutshell, I think that the foreigner was wrong because the Filipina had the security guard and management on her side. But most importantly, she had Filipino customs on her side. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. Take care, God bless, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.